Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode. Comic Book ASMR, and today, as promised, we're going to be going through MoonKnight, Fist of Konshu. Now, while this is a standalone story, it is also a continuation of a huge run on the character by MacKay, so we're jumping in at a point where a lot has happened. Some things might not make sense, but I think overall, we're going to be okay, and I'll explain as best as I can. Um, these are some of my favorite illustrations that I've seen in a comic book. I really, 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 really like this. And like I said last time, I found it online. I was just randomly kind of looking for a comic book to read, and I was like, why not MoonKnight? And I stumbled upon this. And when I saw the illustrations, I had to have it. I needed to have it in my hands. So the way I see it, I think that um, each of these volumes is probably going to end up being 2 videos, but we'll see. And this is by MacKay. So we open up here with Konshu. And Konshu talks about how he's been freed from Asgard, where he was held prisoner. And he says that he is the defender and the traveler and the embracer and the pathfinder. And now that he's free, he's back in his realm with his knights. But he says that all is not well in his realm because the vampires rampage in the night unchallenged. But now that Konshu is free, he's going to challenge them. He has been fighting the vampires, he says, ever since they were created in the blasphemous events that led to the fall of old Atlantis. I'm not sure what those are, but that sounds very, very scandalous. And you see a bunch of Moon Knights here just fighting off vampires, but he says not all the vampires prey on my travelers of the night. This one here, Reese Williams, she is a vampire who has turned on her own and has vowed to protect people. She's part of Moon Knight's midnight mission. But she is not a Fist of Konshu because she does not believe in gods. And this one is called Soldier. And that is both his chosen name and his occupation. And he is also part of Moon Knight's midnight mission. And this one, he says, needs it more than all of them. He desperately needs it. And he believes in the mission. And he says that Soldier has the same kind of void that Moon Knight and just a second here. And Hunter Moon. Yeah. There's 2 Moon Knights now. I just needed to check the name. He has the same void in him that Moon Knight and Hunter Moon have. And then their other ally, 8-Ball, he calls an idiot and a loser. And he doesn't know why his eldest son would have him in his company. But at the end he says, yet I find him oddly intriguing. And you can see 8-Ball has a huge 8-ball for a head and pool cue for a weapon. And then there's this one whose name I don't think... Oh, here we are, actually. Dr. Andrea Sturman. And again, she is not a fist of Konshu either. She has chosen to be a healer. And whether she likes it or not, she does Konshu's will because she helps his fists with what violence does to them. Helps them cope with their struggle. And here we have the Midnight Mission itself, which is a haunted house from outer space that MoonKnight decided to make his lair. And it says everywhere, every time the house would approach, the defenders of Earth would treat it with violence and chase it away. But MoonKnight gave it a chance to be a part of a greater good, to be a part of his Midnight Mission. And Konshu wonders, he says, that was unlike him. Where did he learn such compassion, I wonder? It wasn't from me. So this is straight up just a haunted house from outer space that is MoonKnight's base. I love this comic. And then here we have Hunter's Moon. And Hunter's Moon is, Konshu says it's his beloved youngest son. And he has grown since he first came to him in his first death. And he's a loyal fist, a zealot priest. And he fights the vampires too. He's the engineer of Konshu's freedom, a liberator of his loving father. But he says in the same way that his eldest son, MoonKnight, has learned compassion, my younger son has developed self-determination. He has questioned my ethics. He may require correction. So Konshu doesn't like that. This guy's starting to think for himself a bit. And then we have Tigra. So if you haven't figured it out, we're going over MoonKnight's whole crew now, and Konshu is giving us the narrative and what he thinks of them. And this is Tigra, who is now MoonKnight's girlfriend, and who she helped to free Konshu because Mark Spector, MoonKnight, was dead. So she helped to free Konshu so that Konshu could resurrect MoonKnight. Now, this all happened in a different run in previous issues. That's why I said we're kind of jumping in. And so this first issue is the most complex of all of them. The story is a lot more straightforward after we get through this exposition. Anyways, and she's in love with Mark, with MoonKnight. They're a bit of an item, and Konshu is jealous of that. And then we have MoonKnight's 3 personalities. The 3-in-1. And this one is Jake Lockley, who's a cab driver. And he loves the poor. He is the embracer. He loves the poor, the ignored, and the forgotten. And then we have Stephen Grant, the Pathfinder. And he paves his way forward with money as his weapon. And then we have Mark Spector, the Traveler. He who has fought and killed his way across the world, and together they are MoonKnight. His oldest living son, his fist. At the same time, my greatest disappointment and proudest achievement. The architect of my imprisonment, the reason for my liberation. I love him as a father must love his son. I hate him as a god must hate his apostate. I swell with pride in his service to my name, whether or not he acknowledges it, and I seethe in rage of his betrayal of me. We are bound together by life and death, by oath and debt, by love and hate. In short, we are family. And this guy here is Zodiac, who I guess was a antagonist to Moon Knight, who had found his purpose in fighting Moon Knight, and then when Moon Knight died, he kind of lost his point of existence, and he's kind of just shows him here depressed. And while Moon Knight was considered dead, a lot of gang members rose to the challenge to conquer the streets, and this is one of them. Konshu calls them jackals. But he says Moon Knight lives, and the streets will drink blood. And just look at this illustration. I mean, the colors alone are just amazing. And Konshu goes on to say here that times will come that will test them sorely. He says other predators make their way into the orbit of my children, my 2 living sons and their disciples. And he says it will test the faith of Hunter's Moon, and it will test the defiance of Moon Knight. And he says, my sons have made quite a drama of their lives, but now I am free to partake in that drama. And I am eternal. And there's Moon Knight with his gang. And that is the first issue. And now we jump right into it. Just 1 second here, a little sip. So it says here earlier, and we see Moon Knight, or Mr. Knight, has shown up at a club, and he wants to go in, but they say there's a dress code, and he says, that's impossible, I'm dressed to kill. And he makes quick work of the guards at the door, and walks his way into the club. And meanwhile, at this diner, these cops are having a chat, and they're talking about Moon Knight. And this guy here, Fraser, wait, actually no, this woman is Fraser. This guy's name, I'm scanning for it, but I'm not seeing it. Anyway, regardless, she's trying to pressure him. She's trying to pressure him to give her information about Moon Knight. Oh, his name is Flint, and she says he keeps creating problems for the department. And she says maybe masked vigilantes aren't illegal anymore, but we've got a crazy guy out there, and he's growing his stable. Oops. Sorry. And Flint says, well, what do you want me to do about it? I mean, what is SWAT going to do? Go and pull him out of his midnight mission, the haunted house where he lives in. You go in there uninvited, you don't come out, he says. And she's sniffing, she's snorting, sniffing, whatever she's doing here. She's like, whatever, he's been beaten before. And Flint says, yeah, when Fisk threw his thunderbolts at him, we could see Fisk's thunderbolts are Rhino and U.S. Agent and Electro, and I can't tell who this is, but let me see if I can give you a better look at that. So she's trying to get information. She's trying to get this Flint cop to help her out, and he doesn't want anything to do with it. He calls Moon Knight a hurricane, and he says, people like that, you just get out of their way. And here Moon Knight continues into the club, and there's masked bodyguards, or guards rather, and Moon Knight's like, come on. Let me see if I can get in a little closer here. There we go. And so he beats his way through the club, and I love these colors so much. The way they illustrate light and Moon Knight's white suit, I love it. The white and the blue and the red and the purple. So this Fraser lady, here at the diner talking to Flint, she's still trying to get information on all these guys on Moon Knight and his mission, and here's everyone. Reese Williams, Soldier, Hunter's Moon, Tigra, and the 8 Ball. You can see why I just had to buy this, right? I mean, how cool are these drawings? And this is just Moon Knight still making his way through this club. And all the text bubbles you see here are still Flint and Fraser just talking about Moon Knight. And Flint wants nothing to do with it. He's like, I'm done here. I'm not talking to you anymore. He says, I'm not one of your street snitches. And he walks out. He's not going to help her take down Moon Knight. And Moon Knight has made his way past most of the thugs, and he says, nice night. He says, mind if I join? And these guards say this is a VIP section, but a voice from the back says, boys, don't you know who you're talking at? That there is Moon Knight, and he's a very important person indeed. Achilles Fairchild, and this here is Carver. Please sit. So this guy right here. This guy is Achilles Fairchild, and he's the one that Moon Knight is here to see. I apologize for my cameras. My camera's really having a problem focusing today. If I had known you were coming, I'd have had you put on the list saying, save all the unpleasantness. So I can offer you a drink, Moon Knight, or perhaps a party favor. And Moon Knight says, oh, Mr. Knight, please. And no, thank you. I brought my own. They think he's going for a gun and immediately pull a pistol on him when he puts his hand in his chest pocket. He takes out a little bag of drugs. And Fairchild says, well, Mr. Knight, it would appear that you have exotic tastes indeed. Now, I'm just a country boy and I don't know nothing about nothing. That kind of stuff. And Moon Knight says, it's a drug, Fairchild. It's called fairy dust. They call it glitter on the streets. Not from around here, not even close. And he says, let me tell you how I've spent my week, Fairchild. It seems that people have been selling glitter in my territory, and it's extremely addictive. More than anything earthly pharmaceuticals are capable of. Users turned into loyal addicts in record time, which means that very quickly they don't have a choice other than turning to crime to maintain a habit they can't kick, which means that whoever's supplying the glitter controls a larger and larger group of people desperate for a fix. And this city's one supplier is you. And Fairchild says, well, addiction is ugly stuff. And I get the feeling you know a thing or two about it, don't you? And he asks MoonKnight, what's your poison? Drink, smoke, women, powder, pills? And MoonKnight says, violence. And Fairchild says, you and me, we have that in common, but I kicked that vice. I used to be a boxer, you know that? And MoonKnight says, so was I. You any good? I bet you were. I bet you were the devil himself in the ring. I did okay. See, I come from nothing, Mr. Knight. From the farm, from the dirt, kind of dirt you think will never come out from under your nails, the crack in your hands. But the farm wasn't big enough for me. So I came to the city and I fought until I got to where I am now. Until I got everything I have now. You're a gangster, Fairchild, a pusher. You're selling magic drugs that are destroying people. So what if I am Mr. Knight? What are you going to do about it? I'll kill you, Fairchild. The devil himself. You and I really ought to step into the ring sometime, boy. But I keep my hands clean these days, Mr. Knight. That's what Carver is for. She was Roxxon corporate military, you know that? Special forces. Only one of her unit to survive combat mission into some place called Vanaheim. Even brought back a souvenir. So this is his right-hand woman, and she's got a huge mystical sword. And she points it right at MoonKnight's throat. Okay, Carver boys, time to saddle up. Mr. Knight, it's been an absolute pleasure. Get out of the glitter business. This was me being nice, Fairchild. No, it wasn't, was it? You coming to warn me, putting all your cards on the table? What's it really about? You got me. I like it when they see me coming. Meanwhile, Fraser, the cop, she leaves the diner. She goes to meet up with a car. And who's in the car? It's Fairchild. Fairchild has this cop on his payroll, except for the payroll is glitter. And she's addicted to it, and she needs her fix, and he's the only supplier, so she does whatever he wants, and he wants MoonKnight out of the picture, and that's why she's been trying to get Flint to flip and give up MoonKnight. And Fairchild, he wants results. He's not messing around. And that's where the second issue ends, and that's where we're going to stop this episode. We still have 3 issues to go. Now, we had to do a lot of explaining, right, in the beginning of this one. We had to go through all the exposition, but I'm pretty confident the remaining 3 issues are going to fly by, so we should be able to finish this up in the next video. And then we have 2 more volumes to go through for this storyline. So there's going to be a lot of MoonKnight videos, at least 6 of them. And I got a Punisher coming on. I have a Punisher, and Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe for the last time, which is the 3rd time he's done it. I have those coming on the way. They've been shipped. I have the part 2 of Carnage coming, and I have a standalone volume called Silver Surfer, The Death of Silver Surfer. I'm going nuts here. I'm really getting into this. It's becoming habitual, you know? Anyway, Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day or a great sleep, rest, whatever it is you're doing right now. And hit that like and subscribe button. I'll see you next time when we continue Moon Knight, Fist of Konshu. Peace.